Bosses are getting a lot of buzz, so let's talk about a boss rush mode in Smash Ultimate. Block content. What's happening, my Block buddies, and welcome to a brand new episode of Block Content's League Speak. My name is Callum, and this is going to be your content for today. And today, we are not talking about a newcomer character joining the Fighters Pass, but we are looking at boss fighters in the game. Something that's super interesting because Ultimate really brought the goods with bosses. I think there are a couple of bosses that they didn't bring back, but there are also some more that they actually handmade for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's like classic mode and also the World of Light mode. And I think it's really interesting to talk about boss rush mode coming to Smash Bros. Ultimate because I think it's gonna happen, and I think it might even happen when Banjo launches in Smash Bros. Ultimate very soon. I think it makes the most sense seeing Gruntilda in there, seeing that that stage kind of works that way, and that the only real way that that could happen is if it was a boss kind of idea. So that's why I wanted to talk about the boss rush mode, and of course also we have these intros that I really wanted to talk about because they hint at a little bit more to come than just what we've known so far. And for those of you guys who like giveaways, we are giving away Piranha Plant plushie, so remember to like this video, subscribe to Blocked Content, and of course comment down below to enter for the giveaway at 50k. So make it original, make it snappy, make it fun, make it emotional, make it your own, and maybe you will be joined by this cute plant boy. Alright guys, let's head right on into this. So the first thing that really comes to mind, if you think about, heroes versus villains, we've talked about that event coming to tourneys within Smash Brothers. That's of course super amazing to have Nintendo really acknowledge the fact that this game seems to be kind of built around these heroes versus villain moments, right? So the trailer that we had for King K. Rool was extremely special to me because it showed me a lot of things that I really wanted to see in Smash Brothers for the longest time. Now, it didn't really look like a story mode per se. It wasn't World of Light, but it definitely was kind of story stuff, right? It almost looked like some sort of event mode where there were drawings for these ultimate epic battles between a hero and its longtime nemesis. And I think that that would have made a really cool mode if it was just like event-based and had these portraits. Alas, that didn't really turn out to be the case, but what did happen was these amazing portraits with these characters. It had Mario battling Bowser, holding Peach in his hand, which was really crazy cool and only really recently happened with Mario Odyssey, near Bowser's castle with flames on the floor. I mean, that image and Mario looking fierce as he does in that artwork just really says to me they're taking this seriously. It isn't really fun, it's really this epic showdown that the new Super Mario Bros. Games don't depict it at all that menacingly, right? They, make it a little bit more lighthearted, but right here, that is true evil in Bowser's eye right there, and Mario is ready to slam down. He isn't ready to like hit an axe behind him, he's just ready to beat him up. And the second one here is of course The Legend of Zelda with Link in his Breath of the Wild outfit, which I thought was very fun, and of course Zelda in like a Link Between Worlds or Link from the Past, and Ganondorf from Ocarina of Time. So this really doesn't fit any kind of Zelda game, however it does look really cool, and it's of course the characters that you know and love. And it's some sort of hallway, it's like Hyrule Castle hallway or something like that, which would make a lot of sense and is appropriate. I think that this is a really great picture also because it almost looks like Ganon is grabbing the other characters. The next one would be Meta Knight facing Kirby, or Kirby facing Meta Knight, up in the clouds near Halbert, right? And already what's interesting about this is that they're not using DDD because he's kind of, a lovable kind of villain that sometimes helps out. Meta Knight is too, but yeah, he's a lot more villainous than Kirby here, and you can especially in this screenshot see the scan lines from the TV. So the idea that this is a TV show or something that Donkey Kong is watching in his little shed, that's an idea we'll come back to because that is really important for this theory. The next boss is of course the Star Fox franchise with Fox and Falco facing Wolf. And this is super cool to see just because in those games you basically only fight in the air, right? It was like Star Fox Assault that they tried that and it didn't really work, and in 64 they had that special mode, but ultimately that's not the identity of that franchise. So to see it depicted in this way is, I think, super interesting and a lot of fun to see. So to have a little bit more of this, I would definitely love to see that. And one of the biggest ones, this is almost very similar to the release trailer of Ridley, is of course Samus facing Ridley, and it looks amazing. It even has those same embers and I think like the same sort of background that we saw in Ridley's reveal trailer. So to me, this is really amazing because it just harkens back to that first moment, and finally having Ridley in Smash and him looking this awesome is super amazing. And this final add-on, and this is the interesting part, right? This is another piece of artwork, and I've compared it to all the others. This is in the exact same style, so it's not like they came back to that idea later. This was definitely planned for a very long time. This is Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong facing King K. Rool in the air, just like that trailer with the boxing gloves. However, this was added after, so this artwork only appears not in the King K. Rool trailer, but in the Banjo-Kazooie trailer. So one thing that says to me is that this might not be the thing that's happening here. What might actually be happening is that in the next one, we might get Grunty and Banjo fighting. I think that'll make for a really amazing portrait, and I think that there might even be more to come. If you think about the other newcomers, I think the Dragon Quest hero character could definitely face off with a villain, and I think there are other instances that could really happen. Within Joker, there are a lot of possibilities, but also for the 2 additional slots, right? If you think about characters that could end up there, there are a lot of things that kind of make sense, but we'll talk about that very soon. So the idea that this is all a TV show, right, because of the scan lines, because Donkey Kong actually like zaps out, that's, you know, really interesting to see. Hey, they are still adding in this idea even after launch, even with the DLC promotion. So are there more portraits, and are they going to do something with them? Well, maybe these portraits are for the boss rush mode, and maybe we get portraits for the other characters as well. Of course, we have a lot of boss characters throughout the entire Smash franchise, and it would only make sense to put those portraits into great use for like a start screen, right? So maybe a certain boss like Master Hand has one, but also Bowser, who is a simple character in the game. He could maybe even also be a boss in that mode. So you kind of flesh out a boss mode with a lot of characters as well. I think that that would be really interesting to, you know, fight Meta Knight as Kirby on the Halberd stage. I think that that's a really amazing idea. Or to team up with Falco and Fox to fight Wolf, and a really strong Wolf at that. You know, maybe some would be stamina battles, maybe some would be timed battles. I think that there's a lot of possibilities with a boss rush mode that aren't necessarily bosses that you can fight, right, in the game. So, of course, Master Hand and Crazy Hand would make a lot of sense. I think that there are stage bosses that they could maybe bring back for a boss rush mode. Just think about characters that are basically stage hazards, right? Like the Dark Emperor from the Street Pass Mii Plaza. You could even think about the Yellow Devil from Mega Man being an actual boss. You know, Ridley now is of course a playable character, so I think Ridley won't really make all that much sense, but we can also talk about Petey Piranha, who's of course in the game as the final smash of Piranha Plant. So has a model, even has the cages and all that kind of stuff. So how cool would it be for Nintendo to actually bring back all the bosses from at least Subspace Emissary and a couple of the other games, which I'll get to. So Porky Minch, of course, Porky was in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and I think it would be super interesting to bring it back another round. Of course, people are really waiting for the character to be confirmed as a fighter, but maybe they're holding the character back to show, yeah, we're bringing back a whole lot of other bosses. You know, stage bosses like Metal Face would make a lot of sense, but also characters that basically just appear as bosses. So Duon is a character that I've talked about. I really want to have that character back. You can of course fight Darkon and Galeem in this mode, but I think what would make it really interesting if it would bring back bosses from other games. So Master Core from Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, that is one that I would love to see. And I think Meta Ridley also kind of makes sense. I would love to see a retread of that boss battle from Super Smash Bros. Brawl, even though there's already a Meta Ridley skin for Ridley. And Rayquaza is one that people have been talking about for a very long time, because that was one of the coolest boss fights in the Subspace Emissary. Just because it had a great cutscene, but also because it just was really interesting to fight a Pokemon like a boss character, right? So I don't know if they'll bring back Taboo as a, as a villain, because they of course have this whole new storyline in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate about Galeem, about Darkon, about the hands and stuff like that. So I don't really know if it's the time to bring back someone like Taboo. It's strange also to think about the idea of Master Core being back in that thing, because it was just a one-note villain and didn't really make all that much sense. But I really want them to bring back boss bosses from previous game and maybe stage bosses, so they can really fill the mode with a lot of boss characters to fight and not just the ones that we have in classic mode right now. I mean, Marx is great, Giga Bowser is super awesome in this game, but I think that we've fought them for a very long time now within all these different classic modes, so we need some to come back, and we need, of course, new ones. So the biggest idea here is, of course, Gruntilda from Banjo-Kazooie. It's already pretty crazy that we know Gruntilda is in the game. We've seen her fly around in the trailer for Banjo, and there's this theory, and we've made a video about this as well, where you see Spiral Mountain as a stage kind of twist and turn, and in one screenshot, there is a bridge there, and Banjo's overlooking the bridge, and that might be actually where you fight Gruntilda, because it's just Banjo there in his idol, and nothing is really happening elsewhere. You even hear the boss sound effect. And on the other hand, there's Spiral Mountain as a multiplayer stage, and you basically never see that bridge. So could the bridge like happen and, appear there magically? Or is there some sort of, mechanic to it? Or is this in fact evidence that we're gonna be fighting Gruntilda as a boss? Well, I definitely think it deserves its own little cool portrait there, but I think that it's pretty strange, because for all the other portraits, we have playable characters, right? If you look at all these portraits, they're either Wolf or, characters like Bowser, Ganondorf, and all these are playable in the roster. But if you would do Gruntilda, yeah, that character's not playable in the roster, and that would not make all that much sense to have in one of those portraits, right? Because the idea is you can play either side. You can play the hero, or you can play the villain, because some of the portraits are framed the way of the hero, kind of like Mario's one, where Mario's on the left and Bowser is, looking over it, and the Zelda one is pretty much the other side. You are from the viewpoint of Ganondorf. So that's really interesting to think about a boss mode or something, a hero versus villains, that goes the other way. You actually get to control the bosses. Of course, very famously, we got to control Master Hand in the World of Light, which was the most hype moment ever, and I hope that they do something like that again. It's super interesting to think about all these boss theories, so I hope you guys have any ideas of your own. If you do, let me know in the comments down below, because I want to know about all your boss theories, because that's one of the most important parts about a single player experience, I feel, to have these huge bosses that feel insurmountable until you actually find a way to defeat them. So let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear what you guys think about bosses and a boss rush mode being added to maybe 5.0 with Banjo. So if you comment down below, it could actually be featured in our next video. And today's comment question is, of course, what boss do you think needs to be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? And it could happen from a previous game, it could be a new boss that's happening, or it could be a character that's, already in some form in the game as a spirit that you really want to happen as a boss. So let me know. As for our previous comment question, our answer comes to us from Gaming Yoshi Fanatic talking about his dream.
Guys, I had the weirdest, most awesome dream about Smash Ultimate. Please read the whole thing. So, I was going to my local GameStop, a rather small and tight but still cozy store. In the back of the store, we have Nintendo stuff, and with me, the huge Nintendo fan that I am, I went there directly fast. Wow, I noticed that they added a small aisle of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate amiibos, but what was special about them is that they were fighters not in Smash yet. I saw amiibos of Master Chief, Shantae, and some others I can't even remember. The one which caught my attention was the most amiibo of Crystal. I think you guys already know that I really want her in the game. She had the Star Fox Assault attire with a staff and a badass pose with an expression of determination. So I picked up the amiibo off the shelf and thought, have they actually done it? I can't believe it! Now prior to this was the only indication of new fighters like Crystal and Smash Bros. Ultimate. So I took the amiibo to the buying desk and I asked the guy behind with a question in line, have they added new fighters to Smash? He replied with a,
"Haven't you heard? They've released a Fighters Pass 2 with new fighters and stages."
I was like, oh, that's cool. But I just realized how big this thing was. I began to act like a kid on Christmas morning. I was really excited. The guy also smiled back at me and he acted like that, saying that he
was really excited too.
We made a small talk. He asked,
"Are you gonna main Crystal now?"
And I said, totally. He wished me
good day.
And I did too. Then I put my newly bought Crystal amiibo, thinking I'll buy the other ones later when I walked out of the GameStop. Then I woke up. For some seconds I thought the Crystal and the other had joined Smash, so I booted up my Switch just to see if they were there. But they weren't, of course. That was the biggest oof moment ever.
So thank you, Gaming Yoshi Fanatic. That was a one-take thing, and I did not like doing that voice for that long, so I really feel for the guys that have to do that. Anyway, thank you so much for a comment. It's a lot of fun reading about dreams. This is so crazy, right? The idea that you think that it's real after you've woken up and you really want to like walk to a store or walk to your Switch to see if it's happened. This idea is really interesting. Crystal, I'm so sorry to say, spelled with a K, and also isn't a playable character in Smash because she's an assist trophy, but it might happen in the next game because she's an assist trophy now, which means that everything is possible. Remember that a lot of other characters were actually assist trophies, and I'm talking about Little Mac here. That's a character that's a full-fledged Smash fighter already in 2 games, so it might happen in the future. So thank you so much, Gaming Yoshi Fanatic, and I'm sorry for that horrible voice. Anyway, of course, a huge shout out to our latest Patreon supporters. You guys make block content absolutely possible. If you have an idea for a video that you really want to make, well, I can make it for you. So go to patreon.com/blockedcontent, because a lot of the content on this channel was actually provided because of our fans. They have the greatest ideas, and everyone who donates get their own idea made. So go to patreon.com/blockedcontent, because there's a bunch of incredible rewards there, and they're waiting for you. Your video suggestions are mine to make. And remember, if you're not yet a member of the Blocked Content family yet, just click that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and all the news and fun you care about will be delivered daily to you. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you around the corner where there's always more
Blocked content. See ya.